What's up, guys? It's Calvin Johnson Jr., and you're checking out Scoop B Radio.
Scoop B Radio, everywhere you want to be. I am your host, Brandon Scoop B Robinson. I'm also toying with this new motion camera, so you guys got to bear with me. But more importantly, you know it's a party when you got a 9-time vet, Pro Bowler, 6 times, right?
6 times, baby.
More importantly, he's got a bust in Canton, the one and only Calvin Johnson, Megatron, joins us here at Scoop B Radio. Good brother, what's going on?
Good to see you, Scoop. Thanks for having me, man.
Brother, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. I appreciate that. And I remember the last time that I saw you was when we met, 2014 NBA All-Star Weekend, New Orleans. You were figuring a lot of things out, and I'm excited to see your journey because you've got your hands in pretty much everything, whether it's primitive in the cannabis space, whether it's the Calvin Johnson Foundation. You got a lot going on, but I want to talk to you about the cannabis space because a lot of people are trying to get into that. What was your motivation behind that?
My motivation was, I used cannabis off and on while I was playing. It helped me with my recovery, which was great, but it wasn't until I did the Dancing with the Stars show. And I was about to quit the show because I was suffering from chronic swelling, my knees and ankles. And I couldn't move. I couldn't keep up with my little partner, Lindsay. And so I was just tell my boy, I was like, man, I'm done. I just can't move. I'm gonna have to quit the show. And, one of my teammates from Georgia Tech, he lived out in California. He's in the film industry. So, I was hooking up with him at the time and hanging out. And he brought me a topical that was in a green glass jar with a gold cap on it. And I remember it vividly. And I remember using that. And over the next couple of days, I noticed my swelling start to subside. And I was like, holy crap, like this stuff works. And that was the moment when I was like, man, if I get the opportunity to get into this industry, I want to because I want to get down to the science of this.
You talk about just aches and pains and more. It's been documented that, you used the cannabis creams to kind of heal ankle and knee injuries. I mean, many people criticize or ask the question, why did you leave? What was a day for you waking up, having to get your whole day started with going to practice, going to games?
I wish I had this stuff then, but I wake up in the morning, like drag my feet across the floor to the bathroom, probably hop in the shower just to get my body warmed up, but literally drag my feet flat, because I couldn't my ankles were always swollen, so I couldn't like really bend them until, it really takes a whole day, like working all the way up to practice just to be able to feel good to get your body ready to a point where it's ready to go. But that's every day, from the game to the next day to the next day, it's always just leading up to the point when you have to peak or practice, but all that time, the couple of hours leading up to there, if you try to get me out in that field like an hour earlier, nah, you're not getting nothing out of me because it's your body, it needs its time. It takes time.
CJ, tell me something. If things were now or then as they are now, how much longer do you think you could have prolonged your career with things that are available now?
Well, it's different now, the amount of time that guys practice, we went hard in Detroit, we came to Detroit, we were like, it was tough sledding. So it's like, you had to go hard. That was the coach's mentality. That was like everybody's mentality in the organization, just go hard. And that's going to get us over the hump, just work harder, not necessarily smarter, just work hard. And now they're working smart, they're working smart. Not that they're not working hard, but they don't have as many work days where they're just out there grinding and sticking their feet in the dirt, hitting the ground. And I think that adds days and if not years to people's careers when you're not just out there grinding it all the time on the football field.
Tell me something. Jason Williams, what do you like about him in Detroit this season?
Man, I just can't wait for him to hit the field. When the guy got on the field for the first time last year, he made a big splash. So I'm excited just when he gets his rhythm down, gets his timing down, for the splash that he made in his first year, I have high expectations because the guy can play, the guy can run, and he can catch the ball. So it's just a confidence thing for him getting going. And, obviously that takes time. It takes muscle memory. It takes you putting time in on the field. And, hopefully he can put that time in on the practice field so that when he hits the game, I guess that's maybe week 7, when he gets back on the field, he's rolling.
Learn me something. It's hypothetical, of course. You in your prime running a 40 against Jameson. Who's winning?
I don't even know what Jameson ran. What did Jameson run?
I don't know. But I'm just asking your opinion.
If he ain't sub 4-3, I'm gonna be on his ass.
Okay. All right. Listen, the Detroit Lions. A lot of people say a lot of things on social media about the Lions. How cool would it be to see them rewrite history and make some things happen?
That'd be everything, especially right now. I love that they got Coach Dan over there. I played with Dan like my first year and a half, 2 years in the league. He was a great pro. He was a great example of how to just put the work in. And it's been great to see his career grow from being an interim coach, head coach, to being an actual official head coach. And I sat there and talked to him a couple of weeks ago and asked him, "Do you ever see yourself being a head coach?" He's like, "Nah, man, it's just the way the cards are played, but I'm totally embracing it. And he is. He's totally embracing it. The guys love him. And ain't nothing better than a player coach, man, especially a player head coach.
Outside of the Lions in their division, what teams do you see yourself looking at, and are you even impressed with within the division?
I like the Eagles. That's my team. Obviously, my guy Slay is over there, but I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, man. Love watching him and how his career went at Alabama, how he got sat or benched, and then still how he came back to be where he is today, man. It just says a lot to me about a man's character. So he had success, and then, like I say, he took a little bit of a fall there at Alabama, then just kept on marching, put his head down and just kept on marching. So I have high expectations for him. Obviously, my man Mahomes out there, he has expectations of being in the Super Bowl every year. It doesn't get any better than that. But so I love watching him play. But Jalen, man, I love watching that guy play.
Yeah, but what is one thing post-retirement that you enjoy most that you weren't able to do while you were playing?
Oh, yeah, I love snowboarding. Snowboarding is probably one of my most favorite hobbies. I didn't do it. I wasn't doing anything on ice. I'm from Georgia, and it just my wife was trying to get me to ski for a long time. She finally got me to do it once I got done playing, and I skied for a year, and I switched over to snowboard, and then I've been snowboarding for 5-6 years now. So I love it. I mean, you'll find me on the mountain out west in the wintertime.
In your era, guys like Randy Moss, guys like Terrell Owens, guys like Julio Jones were your contemporaries, were your peers. Out of all the people in your position, what is one thing that any of your contemporaries had that you wish you had in your arsenal as just the prototypical wide receiver?
Well, you brought up those two, Randy Moss and T.O. I kind of wanted to, there's other receivers too, but I wanted to bring with some of the things that they do in their game to my game. I felt like I was able to do that. And that's what ultimately led to some success, just trying to, having the mindset of wanting to make a play and I can make a play on anybody. And then, having the mindset of, I'm a train, I'm durable, I'm always ready to go, like T.O., and then there's other guys like just the consistency of a Marvin Harrison or Tim Brown, just a lot of different things that I took from all these guys and try to put into one package.
The reason why I asked that is because some years ago, I spent some time with Cam Newton and Michael Vick at a Madden event. And Michael Vick said to me that while he plays Madden, he's a lefty, of course, he likes to utilize Tom Brady at that quarterback position because it was very different than his skill set. And so I'm often curious just to know the guy who was the complete opposite of somebody else, what they admire about the next person. And then you started kind of talking about the Eagles quarterback. When you look at today's NFL, is there a quarterback that you see in today's game and you say to yourself, I wonder what they would look like lined up alongside me at wide receiver?
Man, I mean, Mahomes is just like ridiculous because he's going to get you the ball any which way. He might not even be looking at you. He's going to get you the ball. Who else today? And like I said, I already mentioned Jalen. Jalen, he's a playmaker. He's going to get the ball to the guys and makes plays for him. But just the playmaking ability of a Mahomes, man, I'm like, I mean, dang. Like, what else can you say?
Nothing.
I would love to be. I feel like I envy Travis Kelce. Put it like that.
Kelce is living his best life.
Yes.
This NFL season, what is something across the board, NFC, AFC, that you are paying attention to that maybe everybody else is not?
I'm paying attention to what happened. I'm always loving to watch the NFC or the AFC. It was at the East. It was that Cleveland and the Ravens and the Steelers. Is that the East? AFC East. I love watching those guys because, and then I'm looking forward to seeing how Deshaun's going to do. Deshaun's been out the game for a little while, and I don't think people have been sleeping on him because the man got paid like crazy. But my man, he was balling like crazy prior to all the stuff that happened to him. So. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can return to form because that's going to, throw a wrench into that division, I feel like.
Do you like the Odell Beckham and Lamar Jackson tandem in Baltimore?
I don't mind it. I don't know where Odell is, how he feels. I don't even know what year he's in. But I'm trying to think. I feel like they drafted somebody this year, some young guy that I liked when he was in college. I forget his name. But I think that's going to be helpful for the young guy. Odell give him some veteran experience. If Odell is if he's that guy, if he's sharing like that, or being open with the young guys. But I really look forward to seeing what that young cat does over there with Lamar. And hopefully he takes full advantage of what he got. Same with Odell. You got a heck of a quarterback that can get the ball anywhere on the field and can run anywhere too.
I'm fascinated with NBA guys who like NFL and NFL guys who like the NBA. If LeBron James did the opposite of Charlie Ward and decided to play football instead of basketball, what would LeBron James look like at the tight end position in the NFL?
Well, it depends. If LeBron would have come in like nowadays, like in the last 10 years, I think that he could have been great. If he would have came in like when he came into the league 20 years ago, when that tight end position wasn't exactly that hybrid receiver position, he might have been a blocking tight end. But I think LeBron, there are very few guys that I think can make the transition. And just off the way LeBron is built, maybe he can make that transition. But a lot of guys ain't built to get up and down off the ground and get hit like that all the time.
Two more questions. Saquon Barkley and the Giants finally found a way to coexist, and the money added up at least for a season. When you watch Saquon's situation with the Giants, did it give you any pause or at least reflection on what happened with you at the Lions? You guys, of course, have made peace and everything is cool, but it's often been documented that the money didn't match up. Is that accurate? But also, did you see any parallel between Saquon's situation with the Giants and even yourself with the Lions?
I didn't see any real parallel just because my situation was a little different than it being done with, and his situation is still on and going. Like, they need him. The Lions didn't really need me after the end. They clearly showed that, but they need Saquon if they want to go to the place that they want to go.
Calvin Johnson Foundation is on and popping. It's on like popcorn. Where can people find more information about your foundation and what you have going on?
Yeah, it's CalvinJohnsonJr.Foundation.com. I think we started foundation back in 2008. So we've been running strong here for almost 15 years or whatnot, giving scholarships, doing a bunch in the community, from feeding the homeless, providing scholarship programs, providing programs for same thing for our scholars to come together. And it's like a mentor program where I put them in front of people that or my peers that they want to be like, emulate, or just like in industries that they will want to potentially work in. So just providing exposure to youth is really what we're trying to do with the foundation. Exposure and financial support at the end of the day is what it boils down to.
Brother, I appreciate you, especially for those paying attention. This dude was on 8% on his phone. He's been in meetings. He's been making it happen. And we got this interview done in record time. Not as fast as you on the field, I might add, but in record speed, brother, you made it happen. What percentage are we on now?
Let's see what we got here. We're on 4%, man. We're on 4%, so we good. We got time, man. Let's talk about primitive performance.
Okay, tell me more. Let's talk about primitive. Tell me about all the stuff that you have going on.
So, we got into the cannabis industry 4 or 5 years ago. We call ourselves primitive because you think about it, people have been using cannabis for its healing benefits for thousands of years. So by definition and by nature, cannabis is primitive. But being into this industry, really, like I said, to get to the science and find out why and how these products or cannabis is healing our bodies. And what we're really doing in our mission and vision is to be innovative, obviously to be advocates in the space, but to be innovative and push the industry forward. And we're finally to the place where we can do that. We had to build the business first so that we can, create a cash flow so that could in turn support us trying to be innovative and putting some dollars towards research so that we can create new products. And that's where we are now. We finally created Primitive Performance this year. The main thing with primitive performance is that it features nanotechnology. So that's small particle size of cannabis, so small that it mainly bypasses the intestinal system and gets into the bloodstream. Difference between that and your typical products on the market is that it's now, like I say, nanotechnology, and the difference is the size of the particles. Obviously, the regular particles that come from a distillate or oil, it might take 30 minutes to an hour to act, whereas these products work instantly up to 15 minutes. So very excited that, just really trying to create quality of life for those people that have everyday pain and soreness.
Calvin, I've talked to Al Harrington at length about his product, and basketball and football, we're cousins, but there's some things that are different, particularly as it relates to mandates. From my understanding, that since the bubble in the NBA, recreational use of marijuana is allowed within the collective bargaining agreement versus the NFL. It is still on the list of banned substances, correct?
Yes, correct.
Your opinion?
Yeah, I think the last collective bargaining agreement happened a year or two ago. Every collective bargaining agreement is an opportunity for the players to negotiate things that they want or don't want in their deals. And this time, I think the players were pushing to remove it, but what they did was they increased the amount of nanograms that you can have in your system. So if it was, like 10, you can have 10 nanograms, maybe, I don't know the numbers, but now you can have just say like 50 nanograms. So you can have more in your system and not get in trouble now. It's not completely gone though. So until it's completely gone, then I think we're all on the same page.
I've heard people make jokes about hockey where they say, certain guys like a Rasheed Wallace or like a Meta World Peace, they'd love to see them participate in the NHL with just skates and no stick because they could fight. Comparatively, when you look at the NFL, would you like to see more deregulation of the substances? And do you think that would actually make players perform better?
I do want to see deregulation of cannabis because there's no reason why cannabis is on the same level as some of these drugs that are killing folks. Cannabis don't kill folks. So it's ridiculous that it's the same schedule. And I think the second part of your question, yes, I think that it does, it affects your recovery. So in turn, that affects your performance for the better. If you're recovering better, you'll perform better. So if I could recover better, if I could sleep better, if I could not deal with as much inflammation, I'm going to perform better the next day. So 100% it does affect your performance for the better. It's not a performance enhancing, because there's nothing performance enhancing about cannabis. If anything, when you're smoking cannabis, it's taken away from your win. For me, I couldn't smoke right before a game because I feel like I'm not gonna be able to run as much. I'm messing with my win with the smoke. So it's not a performance enhancer, but it does, it can enhance your performance.
Does cannabis better benefit the lineman, the quarterback, the running back, rather than the wide receiver? What position benefits greatly from that, if we're being honest?
It's hard to say, man. Football, anybody can get messed up. Yeah, a lot of guys can have very similar injuries playing different positions. You can break bones, you can concuss yourself, you can bruise yourself at any position. So I don't think it affects one more than the other. It affects them. I ain't gonna say it affects them all the same because they ain't nothing the same, but it affects them all equally, I could say.
From 8% to 4%, I think it was the great Drake who said 0 to 100 real quick. We got to get you back on 100% charging your phone, but more than anything, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate you making time for us to tell us about everything that you have going on.
Hey, thanks for giving me the time, Scoop. Appreciate you, bro.